This is Mason. This is take 3 of Making Dough or Cash Flow. You know, when I was at Berkeley, I heard for the first time this saying, don't give me, delay that. I heard this for the first time. Give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he will eat for a lifetime. That was spoken to me by a professor in class, trying to explain his role to us, to give us knowledge so that we can go out and feed ourselves, to give us information so we can go out and take our space in the world. I resented that. I thought it was odd. I thought that it was strange for him to stand there and tell me that unless he gave me something, I was going to starve. So I raised my hand. I figured I was paying for the class, and if I was not getting what I wanted out of it, I should make my understanding known. So I raised a hand and I asked the professor, Professor, are you saying that unless you give me or teach me something, I am going to starve? That my very existence depends on your actions? That I will not be able to take care of myself unless you stop doing what you are doing and teach me how to fish? I'm a very good fisherman, Professor. I can probably fish better than you. I have a different saying. It's called a Masonism. Just open the gate onto the lake, and I will need nothing else to feed myself. You see, the professor was assuming that he had all the knowledge and all the power and all the influence. I did not think he had but limited power and influence, which is why I had to take a half a dozen classes every year, because no one professor had all the knowledge or all the influence. Don't allow no one to put themselves in the position of your life that they have everything you need, because in reality, they probably have nothing that you need. That professor needed me sitting in that class to earn his living. He needed me to come and buy his books every quarter. He needed me much more than I needed him. I was tired of restrictions on my life. I had no mentors to look up to, and I had to learn a whole new language. Mentors, no one around me thought I could be successful in business. No one around me thought I could successfully compete in society. There was no one in my circle of friends that even had hope that I can compete my brain against someone else's. They were defeatists. They had the language of defeat. They had the culture of defeat. I had to have the culture of success. I had to learn a new language. I had to learn the language of success, the language of business, the language of encouragement, the language of self-confidence. I had to learn how to speak around people. I had to learn how to express my beliefs and how to learn more about my beliefs. I had to learn, and so do you. You must be willing to be a student every day of your life, to learn every day of your life, to seek counsel and mentorship every day of your life. I had to step out into society, and that was very new to me. I had to step out and face those that I once hated and leave those I once depended on. That journey was a lot shorter than I thought it was, and a whole lot less painful than I thought it was. My new self-confidence, my new boldness led many of my old associates to accuse me of being arrogant, self-centered, egotistical. But do you know the definition of confidence and arrogance? had someone tell me once, Mason, you think you're better than me. I said, well, yes, in some things. Of course I think I'm better than you in some things. It's called self-confidence. I am good at earning income and you're good at being broke. But you're better than me in playing the piano and the guitar, and I'm better than you in playing basketball and baseball. Arrogance and confidence. Which one am I? What's the definition? What's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with standing and saying, I can conquer that mountain? What's wrong with assuming that you're good enough to be the boss? What is wrong with that? Arrogance? I looked up arrogance. I looked up confidence. Arrogance is defined as having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. Interesting. Who determines what exaggerated means? If arrogance means having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance, who determines if it's exaggerated? And the word confidence, it means feeling or showing confidence in oneself and self-assured. Am I arrogant or confident if I think I can beat you in basketball? Am I arrogant or confident in assuming that I can learn enough to earn enough to take care of myself? Is that arrogant? Now, to people who think that I may not be available for that because of the color of my skin or my age or where I grew up at or my number of degrees, it may be arrogant in their eyes for me to stand boldly to say I will own a business. But those who understand self-motivation would look at me and say, yeah, nothing's going to stop that man from achieving. You know, we require outgoing, confident people to be approached to large group. You can have self-pride in your deeds. You can only have self-pride in your deeds, not those of others. You cannot be proud of Dr. Martin Luther King. You can be proud of yourself. You gotta be proud of the man that stepped on the moon. He went through a lot of things in his life to be able to take that first step on the moon. What have you done to step on your moon? You cannot be proud in your football team unless you worked out every day, 2 a day, and ate the right kind of foods and you played on that team yourself. You can be happy for them. You can feel great for your team. You can feel good for the achievement of others. You can be grateful for what Dr. King fought for. But you cannot be proud of Dr. King. If you're the same color he is, it doesn't affect you at all. You can be proud of the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team if you want, but you did nothing for their championships. You cannot be proud of deeds of others. You must be proud of the deeds that you accomplish. Marriage is the unnamed key to success. Marriage is so important, but it's so common that it is an often forgotten trait in discussing the key to success. It's probably because the most common trait of most successful business people is being married. They kind of overlook that when they discuss the tools needed to secure a good business. The idea of a married person, a married man in particular, will give him a reason to conquer the world. He will not work that hard for himself. He will not drive himself to death for himself. But to have a wife and a family will give a man the willingness to sacrifice everything for success. This is why gang members tend to be singled and cops tend to be married. Getting married gives you a reason other than yourself to conquer the world. The greatest gift from a mother to her child is her choice of who their father will be. Having the stability of the family and the motivation of the family gives the entrepreneur and businessman another sense of urgency to get his job done. I suggest that you all look around and see how many successful people got successful without the benefit of being married and belonging to a family. That's what we're up against, and that's what the fight is about, and that's what you'll have to go out and determine yourself. Some of the keys we're going to talk about, but first I want to actually think about delayed gratification. Write down your dreams, but don't try to achieve your dreams financially until you achieve a good, solid financial business that will bring you continued income while you go out and have fun. Poverty is not royalty. Poor people seem to think that if they're poor, they must demand from the rich. They believe that you owe them a minimum wage, that you owe them benefits, that you owe them health care. They even demand it. I demand low-income housing. I demand a minimum wage increase. I demand that you take care of my streets. I demand. Poverty is not royalty. If you want to be poor, then you want to act like poor people. You will not have resources. You will not have business available to you. You will not have good housing. You will not be able to put your kids in the best schools. You will not have it, and you should not expect it. If you're going to be poor in America, poverty is probably a choice. So let's get down to business. Poverty is not royalty. This is Mason Weaver. Stay right or be left. Eternity is a long time to be wrong.